This is Dr. Rachel, and I'd like to welcome you to our first episode of Life's Beautiful Synergy. That ability to pause and really think about what are you going to do next week with purpose is such a beautiful moment that I want to introduce into everyone's lives. Today we're going to talk about the magic of Friday afternoon. Friday afternoon is important because it signals to our brain, our body, people around us, that what we just did in our work week, it's coming to a wrap up. And before you step into the weekend, which for most of us is a different pace, right? We do different things on the weekend that we would on the weekday. And it also is that pause before you jump into that next work week. How do you feel when you walk in on Monday morning and you hadn't looked at your schedule? It's like walking off the airplane in Phoenix in July, right? You go from an air-conditioned airplane to 115 degrees, right? No human life should live in that environment. But think about that. So when you walk in on Monday morning and you haven't had a chance to be purposeful about how you're going to show up for yourself, your family, your business, your staff, your colleagues, you remove that empowerment because now you're the victim of everybody else's demands on your time. I first started the practice of Friday afternoon out of sheer frustration for what had not been working. So this is me walking in on a Monday morning and someone pinging me saying, "Are you going to join this call?" How many of you have had that experience where someone dropped meetings on your calendar over the weekend? And all of a sudden, you have that perfect morning planned out. You get to your desk, you set up your workstation, you log on your computer, you check your emails, you check your IMs. And there's a routine that we as humans just love that sets the tone, calms our brain, and gets us ready for that moment. But how I came across this was just that moment in your life where you're like, this is not working for me. And I think we all do this at the beginning of the year when we kind of walk through, what do I want to accomplish this year? What are my goals? What are those things that I want to either do differently, do better, stop doing, start doing? And sometimes if you don't pause and actually plan how you're going to exercise, what is those things you're going to do to help your mental self, your physical self, your emotional self, your professional self, your personal self? If you kind of don't pause and think through, how does that look on my calendar? If I'm really serious about adding more activity, like physical activity in my life, but I don't look at my schedule next week and think about where can I fit in a run? Where could I fit in a Pilates class? Where could I fit in recovery? Then you get to the end and to the next Friday afternoon and you wonder, why was I so unsuccessful in prioritizing those things? But sometimes we don't think about just the tactical, I didn't schedule it. So that, I think, is where the beauty of the Friday afternoon really becomes achievable for anybody. Is it's us stepping back on Friday and saying, okay, what does my schedule look like? How much time am I spending on other people's priorities? And how much time am I tactically scheduling for my priorities? If I want to have a better relationship with my elderly mom, where is the time with my mom scheduled into my week? If I want to have more time to call my little sister, or I want to spend more time on Saturday afternoon walking my dog Charlie, where is that scheduled? How does that actually fit? Because most of us, we think we're good at flying by the seat of our pants, but we're not. We fly by the seat of the pants and then we get to January, February, July, and we wonder why things aren't getting any better year after year or we're not accomplishing those things. So the beauty of Friday afternoon is that you step back, you look at your calendar, and you take out the things that don't make sense. You actually feel empowered to say, no, I don't have time to do those things. There's too many conflicts with the things that I want to have happen that are really important. So you clean out your schedule And then you step back and you say, is it manageable? Is it actionable? Because I don't know about any of you, but sometimes I look at my schedule and I'm triple booked. Or I have these wonderful plans to clean out my garage or do something amazing on a Saturday, but I have carryover throughout the week or from last weekend. It's physically impossible to do some of those things. So part of the most fundamental part of the magic of Friday afternoon is to make your next week actually executable, that it could actually happen. And then you step back from it and say, okay, the things that I've promised myself are important. Where is that on my calendar? Some people color code it, some people do different things, but where do I actually have time scheduled for things that are important to me? And then if you don't have enough of that balance, then this is where you step back and go, I actually can't do that thing because it conflicts with another priority that I have not scheduled. So you're able to step back and visually see where you're spending your time. So for me, when I'm starting that process of reflection on Friday afternoon, I think first and foremost, what are my priorities? Second is I look back at the week I just did and I think, where did I spend my time? Where did I spend my energy? And I will tell you that I spend a lot of my time in my day taking care of other people or other people's emergencies, helping other people with their priorities. And this is where that reflection moment on Friday afternoon becomes such an important life hack, in that this is your time, this is my time to self-correct. So if I spent a whole week and I didn't do any recovery from any of the physical activity that I did, whether it's running, biking, hiking, whatever that might be, then no wonder I feel broken on a Saturday morning. I didn't take any time to recover, right? Or if I, on Friday afternoon, sit back and I think, wow, I felt like I was flying by the seat of my pants in every one of those meetings that I had to deliver something, whether it was a PowerPoint, a data analysis, feedback to my team. Then I sit back and I go, well, no wonder these really important meetings, I had no time in my calendar to sit down, pull my thoughts together, and really come to that next important meeting in a very composed way. So back to the question of why is that reflection so important, is to be able to take a look at how you spent your time and energy in the week that you're just ending. And to be able to go, okay, what didn't quite work? Why did I feel like I was flying by the seat of my pants in these meetings? Why did I feel unprepared? Or any of those what we call undesirable observations, which are UDOs. So which one of those UDOs? I have a fresh opportunity on Friday afternoon to build my own schedule. So when reflecting on how to make the most out of that next day, that next week, is really reflecting on, we all have life's challenges. But how do you take those challenges and have hope, right? So the power of Friday afternoon is literally every single week, you have an opportunity to bring hope back into how can you realistically address life's challenges. One of the things that I do is on Friday afternoon, I take a look at the next schedule, and instead of feeling buried by a relentless performance expectation in my day job, I literally look at every meeting that I need to be a decision maker, or I need to bring some kind of artifact or some kind of PowerPoint or something to the conversation. I'll make a list on Friday afternoon of each one of those meetings that I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I can start planning out, okay, on Monday, I'm going to start drafting that PowerPoint or pull that data or meet with my peer who's going to help me with that narrative. And it helps me to take just one of the challenges that I know I'm going to face next week, because I faced it this week and it's not going away, right? So it makes me feel so empowered that instead of that icky feeling that I felt today on a Friday because I was coming into those meetings maybe a little bit not as prepared as I would have liked to have been, now I literally have a list of those artifacts and I can start chunking them throughout the week, and I know what day they're due, who I need to partner with to have them, and so forth. One of the ways that I personally balance between the have to haves, the meetings, the events that just have to happen on my calendar, and the things that are Dr. Rachel Bailing's priorities that I know that need to happen next week in order for me to have that beautiful synergy between all the different things in my life that I really care about. So let me give you one example. I'm really passionate about running marathons. So I will look at my calendar and I will schedule a long run, a short run, a medium run, and then I will look at how that overlaps with maybe early morning meetings or things that I've already committed. And that's when I make that negotiation. But if I committed to running 4 days a week, then I will fit that in, and then I'll say no to a meeting. I'll say no to an early morning commit because I've already hard coded in that running time during that morning session. I think we're all faced with that struggle of when do we say yes to things that are important to us, even and especially when it conflicts with things that we are committed to or need to do from a personal or professional perspective. One thing that I do is I'm very transparent, for instance, about my 20 miles that I run every Friday morning before I come to work. So if someone puts a meeting on my calendar at 8 a.m., I will respond back and I'll say, hey, I'm going to be just wrapping up the end of a 20-mile run. Would you mind if we did it Thursday? Or would you mind if we did a little bit later on Friday afternoon? And that way it's a no, but it's a no because, and I am so flexible with where else that could go, but it actually helps the people around me to know what I am passionate about and how we can still partner together. But there are sacred parts of my day that I'm not willing to give up. And I would say 9 times out of 10, that person that you let them know that it was in conflict with something that you value in your personal life, 9 times out of 10, they're going to go, oh, I wasn't aware. Yeah, how about Thursday? And then you sit back and you go, oh my goodness, if I would have only known that, I could have been so much more protective of my time. And I would say another piece to that as well is oftentimes, I think many of us, we come in on Monday morning or we see meetings that get dropped in and they are directly on top of another meeting. The thing that I'll do is I'll respond back and I'll say, hey, I noticed that you put a meeting at a time that I'm not available. It looks like maybe I'm not the decision maker in your call because my calendar's already taken up. Could we do this over email? Or is there something that you might need from me? Or would you mind to reschedule it at a time that I'm available? Because I do want to help you, but I already have a conflict. And just that one simple behavior that I've incorporated as part of the beauty of Friday afternoon is really setting those boundaries. So going forward, people are much more likely to pay attention if my calendar is booked because they know if they drop it on me and I'm the decision maker, I will often not ask the other person that I've already committed to move something. And it shows that sense of respect and partnership that I want to encourage all of us to have that bravery to say no, but know why, right? Some of the benefits that I've experienced by incorporating the magic of Friday afternoon into my life, first and foremost, is when I have the confidence to walk into my work week on a Monday morning, and you might laugh at this, but I can visually see who's dropped in something over the weekend. Because on Friday afternoon, my schedule is clean. It is executable, and it has the perfect balance with all the synergies of all the different roles and priorities in my life when I close my laptop and I walk out of the office. Monday morning when I walk in, you guys all know your schedules have a different color or a different squiggly line next to the meeting if you've accepted it, right? The feeling that when I walk into the office on Monday morning, and I have said this before, but I have hope. I already know that this week has the right mixture of the hard stuff that nobody wants to do, the easy stuff, the exercise, the mental health. I already built in that beautiful synergy before I walked away on Friday. So I have every confidence when I come back to work on Monday morning that I can nail it. I feel so empowered because I already said no on Friday. I already said no. I already negotiated. I already built in time to spend with my staff, to spend with my mom, to go on my run. I already built that. I already made those tough decisions. So I don't have to make a decision every half hour when I'm going through my day. That is such a beautiful way to live your life, other than just jumping to the next thing that someone else put in front of you. So the self-empowerment, and also you have to own it. If you left stuff on your schedule, because then at the end of the week, if you're totally exhausted and absolutely spent, or you spent your time on stuff that probably wasn't aligned with what you wanted to accomplish, you own that. But the feeling that you own that is a very different way to live your life. So maybe you're asking me at this point, Dr. Rachel, how do I start this practice? Let me share that with you. First and foremost, this is what anybody can do. The last hour of your workday, it doesn't matter what hour that is, the last hour of your workday, I want you to go out of office. I don't want you to schedule any meetings. And I want you to simply reflect on what went well that week. What went well? What are you proud of? How did you move the needle? Like my grandpa used to say, just move the dirt, Rach. Just move the dirt. Do that. Schedule that. Book it on your calendar. Do that. But equally important, the hour before that, purge. Take everything you didn't accomplish, any draft that you didn't get done, any bulk of emails that you didn't answer, wrap it up, put a task, do something with it. Don't take it with you into the weekend, because it'll be there Monday morning. And then now you got not only what's on your shoulders for that week, but now you're carrying all the baggage and self-disappointment that you didn't finish from last week. Now you got that all hanging on your shoulders. So those two things, even if you don't clean up your calendar right away, even if you don't self-reflect, even if any of the things that I've just shared, you don't jump into those all at once, do those two things. The second to last hour, take it out of your brain. Put it on paper, put it on your calendar, book a meeting around it, clean it up, but don't take it with you. And then that last hour, celebrate what you did get done. Celebrate what you did accomplish. Don't beat yourself up for what didn't happen. You already took care of that in the hour before. So those two things, that's my biggest recommendation on how to just get started. So if you can do one thing, go do it right now. At the end of this podcast, go do those two things. Schedule those meetings. Let it sit. Come back to it and just practice those two things. Get it on your calendar and do that reflection, do that purge. You will start to see the momentum of what pausing, tactically planning it out, negotiating, saying no, and setting those boundaries will give you those exponential feeling of empowerment and control of things that sometimes we don't always believe that we can control. So start now. Do this today and see how powerful the magic of Friday afternoon can be for you as well. Thank you for joining me for the first episode of Life's Beautiful Synergy. I'm really excited to go on this journey with you, and I'd appreciate it if you'd subscribe and follow wherever you listen to podcasts, and follow me on social media. All of my information is in the episode notes, so please reach out. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next episode.